Hey, 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 Big Dave the Middle-Aged Gamer here with my one and only attempt at the 2024 NFL Mock Draft. And all the information I spout is as relevant as I could find and confirm myself as of the recording of this video, which should be the morning of April 24th, 2024, one day before the NFL draft begins. So, what is there to be expected here? Well, I promise you that there's going to be a lot of chaos, especially near the top of the board. At the top 10, there's going to be a lot of chaos. Things will eventually settle down. And there's going to be some bizarrities, to be sure, some reaches, a lot of trades, as you would normally expect during the wild, wild NFL draft. So without further ado, let's get started, because we got 32 picks we need to get through. Number one, and probably the worst kept secret in the entire NFL right now. The Chicago Bears, with the first pick, are going to take Caleb Williams, the quarterback out of USC. Caleb Williams established himself far up and above and beyond every prospect in this draft, with the exception of possibly Marvin Harrison Jr., but the big difference is Williams is a quarterback, Harrison is not. The Bears trading off their quarterback from last year, Justin Fields, for pennies on the dollar, made it quite clear where they were going with this pick. All right, number two, the Washington Commanders. They too moved on from their quarterback from last year, sending Sam Howell off. I think they actually got more than pennies on the dollar for him, considering Howell was a fifth-round pick. But again, neither here nor there. They are here for a quarterback. They are not budging. There have been no rumors of them possibly trading down, nor do I expect them to. And honestly, it comes down to two quarterbacks. It's going to be either Drake May or Jaden Daniels. And from everything I'm hearing, it's likely going to be Jaden Daniels. Seems to fit what Washington wants to do a bit more, dual threat style quarterback. The franchise itself is kind of like that style of quarterback for a very long time. So I don't see why that would change one bit. And this is new ownership's first quarterback pick. All right, here's where things get interesting. Number three, the New England Patriots. There have been a lot of rumblings about them being open for business and looking to trade down. Why? Well, I come across a largely unsubstantiated source, but it was from a pretty good source. I don't remember exactly who because, well, I see who it is, and then my goldfish brain tends to go. So, but I do think they're going to be the ones that are going to trade back first. And who's going to trade up? Sorry, New York Giants fans, and I know I'm one of them. It's not going to be us. It is, however, going to be the Minnesota Vikings. All right. Just in the interest of just getting this done, we're just going to go for 3 for 11 and 23. I know the mock draft database simulator is not the best, especially when it comes to trade values, but since we're only doing one round for the purposes of what we need, it's good enough. So I'm going to send that through. Minnesota goes up, and they are going to select Drake May. Cardinals are up at 4, and they already have 2 first-round picks. I've seen a lot of rumors about them wanting to move down, but to me, it just doesn't make any sense. They've already got 2 first-round picks. What the hell are they going to do with more? And they've got their quarterback. And they just have a lot of other needs. So, yes, while I could see that, I don't... Considering they moved on from all of their good receivers this offseason, they really need to replenish. And considering that they made a pledge to build around Kyler Murray, it would be really foolish for them to offload, to ignore what could be their biggest need. And, well, what is their biggest need? Let's be honest here. And get the best player in the draft, in my opinion, and the opinions of a lot of others. And I'm going to have that reflect here. I have them taking Marvin Harrison Jr. The son of the legendary Marvin Harrison Sr. From the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning's favorite target, will soon forge a quick bond with Kyler, and they will be one hell of a duo. Okay, we're up to the Chargers at pick 5, and they seem to be another preferred trade down spot, but the only other teams that would, at this point, would make any sense for them to trade up to go after J.J. McCarthy are both division rivals. In this case, that would be the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders, because I don't foresee the Giants moving up one spot. And while the simulator suggests that they take a wide receiver, I don't foresee that happening because their coach, Jim Harbaugh, is a power run kind of guy. You know, old school, run the ball defense. You remember his Niners, how they were when they got to the Super Bowl. What was that, 12 years ago? And you saw how they did it in Michigan, which is part of the reason why McCarthy is such a polarizing prospect. Won a national title, but he was a game manager. So I don't see them going after wide receiver, but they desperately need help at right tackle. I see them grabbing Joe Alt. And that in and of itself is going to cause a lot of chaos because a lot of people had Alt sliding down to 7 at Tennessee. But he's big, he's nasty, he's a hell of a run blocker. He's everything that the Chargers would love. Now, if he could play right tackle, great. But if he can't, Rashawn Slater, I know, can. So, you know, keeping Alt at left tackle could still work. All right, number 6, the New York Giants. Here's where I think things are going to go completely off the rails. J.J. McCarthy happened to fall into their laps here. But from everything I'm hearing, and I'm more in tune with the Giants than anybody else, they're not... It doesn't seem like Giants brass is all that fond of McCarthy. Now, they could easily get a receiver here, but I don't see that happening. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to get a call from a very panicky and very desperate team, and that team is going to be the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos, with new head coach Sean Payton, wants his guy. And from what I've heard, they love McCarthy. So I can see them making a push to move up and get McCarthy. Now, just for the purposes of this, just to make it work, I'm just going to have them dump on the rest of the draft. I don't necessarily think that's how it's going to happen. I think the actual trade's probably going to end up being, from everything I've heard, it's going to be 12, 76, next year's first, and Patrick Surtain the second. They are that desperate to land a quarterback that they're willing to make a Godfather offer to the Giants. And yes, call me crazy, and you're perfectly welcome to in the comments. I see PS2 becoming an NYG. So the Broncos move up to 6, get their man, J.J. McCarthy. Now, the Titans at 7, they sure could use another receiver. They desperately need some help on the offensive line, especially at tackle, because, well, Will Levis was a freaking punching bag. Even though he held tough, give the guy credit. Must be all that mayo in the coffee, I swear. But I think they go with Olufashanu from Penn State. Beautiful pass blocking prospect. Should plug and play immediately at left tackle. I think he will do very well there, as the Titans look to move to a new direction and a new era. No more smash mouth running like they've been for many, 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 many years. All right. Atlanta Falcons, number 8. This is also a preferred trade down spot for a lot of teams because they're going to be looking at defense. And while everybody says, oh yeah, Dallas Turner, there have been a lot of reports coming out that they're not interested in Turner for whatever reason. And while I suppose they could go with yet another receiver, and Malik Neighbors would be a great fit alongside Drake May and Kyle Pitts, I don't foresee them doing that. I do, however, see another trade. So we're going to queue up the Atlanta Falcons. And the team moving up is going to be the New York Giants. So 8 for 12. I see them giving back that third-round pick they just gave to, that they just got from the Denver Broncos to move up 4 spots. get their wide receiver, who's going to be the aforementioned Malik Neighbors. And now we have the Chicago Bears back at number 9, and it's going to be another trade spot because the Bears, as you can see here, they've only got 3 picks left, 3rd and a 4th. They don't have much else. They need more picks. Now, you look at the board here. Here, let's go back to the board. You see how it's filled out here. There's still a receiver. There's still a tight end. You got all these defensive players. So what are the Bears going to do? They're obviously going to trade back, but who's going to trade up? Here's your mind blow of the week, guys. It's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. For 9, 18, and we'll call it 49 for now, but I think it's going to cost more than that because the prices seem to have inflated since then. I mean, inflation's even affecting the NFL draft, guys. So where do the Bengals go? Well, they could go offensive tackle, but I highly doubt they're going to do that. If they wanted a defensive lineman, they'd have stated 18. Could they go after a receiver? I mean, they could use a slot guy since Tyler Boyd left via free agency, but you don't move up all the way to number 9 to get yourself a slot receiver. If you want a slot receiver so bad, you get yourself Brock Bowers. Tight end, you can start immediately, either in line. He can also move to the slot if they want him to. And that would definitely give your Burrow another full-time weapon for him to enjoy and have this offense dominate with. All right, number 10, the New York Jets. Just missed out on Bowers. I can see them being a little sour about that. And you look at what else they need. They don't really need much. They too could use a slot receiver because they did get Mike Williams in the offseason, but he's injury prone and they just signed him to a 1-year deal. So I don't think he's going to last long anyway, especially if he keeps getting hurt. So they need insurance and somebody who could play both inside and outside. And believe it or not, I think Rome Odunze could do that. He's a big target and that big slot can be effective. Especially when you do slants and stuff like that. He's very good at running after the catch. I think he could be a big, big help for Aaron Rodgers and this offense. All right, we're finally back to the Patriots at 11. And this is a team that I think is going to concentrate on defense outside of the quarterback. Mainly because if you look at new coaches, Gerard Mayo, defensive player, defensive coach, they're going to work with what he knows, and that's defense. And considering all the holes that this team has, I think they're just going to go what they feel is the best player available, and that's going to be Dallas Turner. Get themselves more of an edge rush. They've already got pretty good secondary. Pretty good. I mean, it could be better, but it's still pretty good. Led by Jack Jones and the kid Gonzalez from last year. He got hurt, but he should be ready for training camp. And they got some pretty good safeties too. That secondary should hold up, get themselves a pass rush, and this defense is already coming a long way. All right, back to the Atlanta Falcons at 12, and everyone's saying, okay, they didn't get Dallas Turner, so now they can get the next edge, right? No. You look at their defensive coordinators, Raheem Morris, and his defense is always predicated around a good secondary. Which, while they got a good corner, otherwise, not so much. They could use help at safety. They definitely need a corner too. I think they get that here with Terrion Arnold. He'll be picked on a lot, and he may have some issues, but he's still got a very good ceiling, very physical corner. Also good against the run, kind of thing that Morris likes. All right, 13, the Raiders. And I'm going to go completely off the beaten path here. I think with the Broncos moving up and the Vikings moving up, I think the Raiders end up getting into a little bit of a quarterback panic. And yes, I do think they panic, and I think they go get Bo Nix. Remember, this is under the predication that just because you drafted a guy in the first round does not mean you have to play him, especially with the quarterback, especially with all the help that this team still needs, especially along the offensive line. That right side, oh boy. Getting yourself a quarterback that can sit for a year, especially if you get him in the first round, you get that fifth-year option. Could they trade back? Oh, absolutely. Will they? I don't think so. As I said, that's why I called it a quarterback panic. So there you go, Knicks to Oregon. All right, number 14, the New Orleans Saints desperately need help at offensive tackle. Let's see who's available. Talese Fuaga can play guard or tackle, but he's a right side kind of guy. Same thing with Lathan. The only guy left in this group who's really a left side kind of guy is Troy Faltano. And they desperately need help at left tackle. Trevor Penning getting that big bad bust label. And he earned it. He earned it. It just did not pan out, so they get his replacement. All right, 15, the Indianapolis Colts. They can go two different ways here. They can go corner. They can go receiver. Don't really have much in either spot outside of Michael Pittman Jr., their number one receiver. Excuse me. I've had them going Brian Thomas Jr. before, but I don't know. With Quinyon Mitchell still sitting there, and this receiver class just being disgustingly deep, I have them going with Quinyon Mitchell, helping out that defense a little bit. Day 2, they can help any holes in the offense and help develop Anthony Richardson. Pick 16, the Seattle Seahawks. Here's another reach. They look at the board, how it's fallen. They desperately need help in the interior of their offensive line. And with the teams behind them, they realize trading back is probably not the wisest course if they want to get one of these two centers. And yes, Graham Barton is a center, even though he played tackle in college. He does have 5-position flexibility. That's who I think the Seahawks grab. And yeah, you call it a reach. That's perfectly fine. But they get what they need. They kind of always have. And the Seahawks lately have been making some good draft decisions in the first round as of late. I think they go back to their old ways a little bit and make a somewhat head-scratching move here. All right, Jags at 17. Kind of like the Jets, they don't really need much. They did a good job of filling in their holes during the offseason and free agency. So where do they go from here? They could use another receiver. I mean, you got Zay Jones. You've got... Crap, who is that other guy? Christian Kirk. But Kirk could be more used as a slot guy, so they could use somebody on the outside. I think that's what they do here in grabbing Brian Thomas Jr., so they can force Kirk inside. All right, back to the Bears at 18. And they're miffed that Thomas Jr. went to pick before them. So now they're going to need to pivot. They did a pretty good job filling in the offensive line. It's not really that much of a problem anymore. That defense, oof. So I think that's where they go. They're grabbing Jared Verse, better run defender. That's what they need. And somebody who can line up alongside Montez Sweat to provide extra pass rush will help this team go further. All right, Rams at 19. Here's a pick that I've had set up for quite a while now. It's going to be Laiatu Latu, the edge from UCLA, local boy. And even before Aaron Donald retired, I had him going here predominantly as a help, as a secondary rush for Donald. So that way they start getting a little bit scared of Laiatu Latu. Latu starts building up. They start concentrating a little bit more on him. That'll free up Donald to wreak more havoc. But now that Donald's retired, they have nothing for a pass rush. So they desperately need something, and Latu is probably the best pass rusher, pure pass rusher in this draft. All right, the Steelers at 20. They can go a bunch of different ways. They need left tackle. There's really no left tackles left. They also need interior line. And yeah, they could use a receiver, especially since they traded away Deontay Johnson. There's really not much there. And they still need a number 2 corner. So a lot of places they could go here. But I think they concentrate on building up that line. I have them grabbing JPJ, Jackson, Powers, Johnson. The man with 3 last names. All right, the Miami Dolphins at 21. Lost a lot of players in free agency. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I have them. And here's the thing. Christian Wilkins was probably the biggest sting out of all their free agency losses. But I have them going with Taliesin Fuaga. It's the best offensive lineman left. They lost all of their right side of their offensive line, and they need to start rebuilding that if they want to protect Glass Cannon Tua. All right, 22, the Philadelphia Eagles. I have them going with I have them going with Amarius Mims. Howie Roseman loves his Georgia boys. And I'm sure there's a lot of you going, but wait a minute. Lane Johnson is still an Eagle. Yeah, he is. But for who knows how much longer. And 2, you have a gaping hole at right guard now. Now that since Jason Kelce retired, Cam Jurgens is going to be moving over to center to fill that role. Mims can play right guard for the time being, and then when it's time for Johnson to move on, Mims can kick back out to right tackle. All right, back to the New England Patriots at 23. Remember I said before at the very beginning, why would they trade back if they need a quarterback? Well, here's where you're about to see. It's going to be Michael Penix Jr. That's the name I've heard that they were interested in this whole time. Trading back with the Vikings allows them to get some help on the defense and their quarterback of the future. Personally, I've had him comped as Jacoby Brissett, who just happens to be their starter, Jacoby Brissett. But Dave, why would they get another Jacoby Brissett if they already have a Jacoby Brissett? Because the new Jacoby Brissett is 10 years younger. That's why. All right, Dallas Cowboys at number 24 desperately need help in the interior of their line. From what I'm gathering, Tyler Smith is moving over to left tackle from left guard because Tyron Smith left for the New York Jets. Center Tyler Biadasz also left, and he went to, I don't even remember. Oh, wait, he went to Washington. That's right. So they have a big gaping hole in the interior of their offensive line. So I think they reach a little bit here. They have never been afraid to do so. Look last year with Mazi Smith. I think they go with Zach Frazier. Give themselves a new center. All right. The Green Bay Packers at 25 need help in their secondary. And here's the craziest pick so far. Because for the past 4+ years, whoever's had the number 25 pick has moved out of that pick, one way or the other. But this time, no. I have the Packers sticking and picking, taking Cooper DeJean. A lot of people have had this pick basically slotted in, and it makes too much sense. He can play all over the place. This is your, oh God, what the hell is his name? He went to the Lions last year in the second round. Ended up being a Rookie of the Year candidate. I forget the guy's name, but same kind of player. They didn't get him last year. They get him this year. All right, 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of holes. And corner is a bit of a problem. If I remember right, they lost a fair bit in free agency. I think they go and fix that. I have them going Kool-Aid McKinstry over Nate Wiggins. Wiggins is the better athlete, but I think they view McKinstry as a better football player. And that's where I think they go. All right, 27, the Arizona Cardinals. They can't believe their luck. As much as they want to fill their offensive line, they do need a right tackle. And I think that is where they go to further help Kyler Murray. I haven't taken J.C. Latham, who just somehow falls all the way to 27. 28, the Buffalo Bills desperately need wide receiving help after trading away their best receiver in Stephon Diggs, and they also let their number 2 receiver go in free agency in Gabe Davis. They have a massive hole at receiver. Adonai Mitchell is the pick. 29, the Detroit Lions. And this is another team that doesn't really need much anymore. They did a good job filling in holes in the free agency. So where do you go with a pick like this? I have them going with Chop Robinson. Raw prospect, but very high upside. He could be the kind of guy who could eventually become that edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. But for now, they could just use him as a DPR. For those who don't know, that means designated pass rusher, while he develops and learns to play NFL big boy football. All right, pick 30, the Baltimore Ravens. They desperately need help on the right side of the line because they lost their guy in the free agency. I think that was Morgan Moses, who's now with the Jets. So they grabbed Tyler Guyton, plug and play right tackle, get the job done. All right, 31, the San Francisco 49ers. Can't believe their luck, as they do need some help on the defensive line. They did lose Eric Armstead in free agency. As far as I know, they didn't really replace him. I have him going with Byron Murphy, who falls all the way into their laps. And, yeah. Yeah, that kind of Niner luck again. John Lynch gets his man. And finally, at 32, Kansas City Chiefs, world champs, won the Super Bowl with no receiving help. Well, the receiving core is in even worse shape than it was before. Rashee Rice with all of his legal issues. Kadarius Toney with all of his issues. They don't really have much right now outside of Sky Moore, and he's a slot guy. But I do have him going with Ladd McConkey, a guy who can play outside, is kind of slotty, yes, but he can do just fine on the outside. He's still very fast, great route runner. Great fit for what Kansas City wants. And there you go, everybody. Oh, stop it. This is your full 32 pick mock draft from your boy, the idiot Big Dave. Hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest and greatest videos as they come in and to help this channel grow. I do more than just the yearly football draft. I do a lot of gaming stuff too. So if you're into that, come on by, hang out, have some fun. Well, this has been Big Dave, the Middle-Aged Gamer. This was the 2024 NFL first round draft, mocked to hell and back again. I'll see you all next time.